the Dresden Files have some of the best and worst slash best villains that I've
Characters.
ever seen. Let's rank them. Okay, so I'm hopping on the trend of like ranking all your favorite characters, except I couldn't get the thing to work. Not too tech savvy yet, but here it is. Ranking all my favorite Dresden Files characters, at least the ones I think that are important. If you agree, disagree, you better tell me in the comments. Dresden Files so far has like so many books and so many characters, so I had to narrow it down quite a bit, but there's a lot of people that I like way more than others, and I think offer way more to the series than others. Hallelujah! Let's start off with number one. Obviously, Harry Dresden. Can you argue with this? He has gone through so much, he has made so many decisions, he's died, come back to life, saved his daughter, he has gone to hell and back for the people that he cares about, and would do it again, no matter what. He may have a lot of power and a lot of choices to make, but Harry Dresden is my number one, and he would never leave that spot, no matter what. And of course, his partner in crime, best friend slash lover, Murphy, is my number two. So Murphy, Karen Murphy, is this little small girl who honestly is the biggest badass in the entire series. I still haven't met anyone that I think deserves this award more than Murphy. And I love her. I love how she'll be there for Dresden no matter what. Like, he goes through so many things and she will be right there beside him. If he chooses the wrong side or the right side, she'll be there to slap him out of it or keep pushing him down that path if he needs to go. So third, I come up with Thomas. So Thomas is Harry's brother, obviously, and I really enjoy Thomas because he has this good and bad pole that he has to go through, along with a lot of family drama. And I think the reason why I like him so much is just because he didn't need to be close to Harry, and he doesn't need to help him and be the good brother that he is. Like, he could have been fine living with the Wraiths, but he decided to step out and help his brother, and he helps him a lot. Like, honestly, Thomas does a lot of the behind the scenes work, and maybe we don't see him change too much throughout the series, a little bit, but I feel like he's one of Harry's biggest supporters because he has the access to a lot of the money and a lot of the power that some other people don't. Going to be obviously the infamous apprentice, Molly Carpenter, who I absolutely adore. She is fourth though because sometimes at the beginning you get a little frustrated with how she acts and how caught up she is in power and magic and not just the intricacies with magic and in herself. But now that she has grown so much, Molly is a totally different person from when we first met her, and I cannot believe how much she has grown. I commend Jim for creating a character that honestly, like, goes from adolescence all the way into adulthood. Whew, beautiful. It works out so well, and now, like, look where she is. No spoilers, though, but you guys know. More powerful than Dresden, maybe? Yes. So, next up on the list is Mouse and Maggie, which Maggie is Harry's daughter, and Mouse is the best dog in the entire world. He's got a personality, he's got human traits, like he can hear humans and he can speak, which we found out in Changes. That's pretty damn awesome. And I think this dynamic with Mouse and Maggie being like her helper dog kind of and her best friend is one of the cutest things in the entire book, and I wouldn't say it's comedic relief, it's like my heart relief, something like that. I don't know. But stepping on from that, we have my next favorite character, who is ranked number 6, is Lash. So, not to be confused with Laciel, who was inside Harry's mind, but Lash is the one that is more connected to Harry and only inside his mind. Lash, she gave up, like, her entire life for him, and that was one of the most beautiful moments in the series, because not a lot of people could actually take a hit for Harry, and her being able to do this, since she's this psychological being inside his brain, was an act of love, and we all know what happens from there if you have read Skin Game. Lash was there for Harry in so many times of need, and she was more than just an evil presence in his brain. Like, she taught him how to play music, she helped him vent his anger, which there were a lot of maybe negative things, but he grew so much when Lash was in his brain and in his mind, helping him along. That's when he finally, like, became a step closer to the wizard that he is today, after he held on to Lash and eventually had to let her go since she took that psychological beating for Harry. Props to her. She's one of the craziest characters, like, wow, how could you like Laciel, who was inside Harry's mind? Which I think a lot of us love Lash, and I think it's weird that we get to love one of the Black and Denarians, but it's great dynamic. So, seventh, I lumped together Michael and all the Carpenters, like Charity Carpenter, because they're all quite similar, and I heard the argument that they're kind of like good background characters and helping the main characters really figure out who they are. And I agree with that because Michael, we know him as the steadfast, faith-driven man with a huge family. Charity, honestly, the same way, faith-driven woman with her big happy family, and they are really great fighters and they do what's right for God, not for themselves. And it's a really big change from seeing Dresden how he views the world, but I really enjoy the amount of faith and the amount of insight that Michael and Charity are able to give to the story and to Harry. So number 8 is Waldo Butters. He starts off just as the little mortician, becomes the one banging the beat to the necromancy, and now holds one of the swords. Waldo has grown so much throughout all the books, probably second to Molly and Harry, and I just Waldo is one of my favorite characters because he's this little nerdy polka boy, and he does way more than anyone could ever expect for him. And he's like, if you've read The Mortal Instruments, he's like the Simon Lewis of the Dresden Files. And I absolutely adore those characters who bring in more of a realistic point of view. Like, you can be strong and powerful even if you're just a normal person, a little bit nerdy and weird. Like, you can still be this powerful being that helps the city for the better. And I think Harry helps inspire this in Waldo, and he just takes it and runs for it. Next up is Gentleman Johnny Marcone. I think he's an amazing character because he's right on that line of good and bad. He may be a huge gangster, but he also has a soft side. He may be extremely strict and extremely rich, but he also stands up for what is right and helps out people when he knows that he should do better. It's another strange dynamic that Jim has written in, and I really like him as a character because maybe, obviously, he doesn't change during the books that we've seen so far, but he offers a lot of the gray in between the black and white, and we get to see how much this another plain old mortal gets to affect the magical world that he's a baron now of the Accords, and he makes a huge difference in Chicago, keeping it safe, especially when Harry was gone. Which is extremely weird to think of the gangster keeping things safe, but as long as it's safe for mortals, he can deal with some things on the backhand. Next up is another one that's kind of borderline gray, but I'm seeing her more in a white light now, is Mab, the Queen of Winter, and after I read Cold Days, I gained so much respect for her. Before, I just thought maybe she was a little bit evil, a little bit power-sided, a little bit crazy. Now I know that she's been driven crazy by these outsiders that literally she has to battle this entire time. Family drama that has happened. She's not a cold, stone-hearted person. She has been treated and tempered that way for a really long time, and it takes a lot to melt her down, but it's possible. And she does not take any crap. And I love it. I love seeing Harry constantly challenge her authority and always get shot down. It's hilarious. And I know Mab is obviously a huge piece of play in the entire world that is built up around the Dresden Files, because if she wasn't in it, if her position didn't exist, like, the world would not exist either. And I really like her dynamic. And again, how she fits in the story and helps Harry out, even though sometimes she's played to be the bad guy. Next up, I have Ivy, the Archive, and Kincaid. Kincaid brings a lot of the kind of humor, sort of vigilante vibe, helping out this little child, but also being a badass human murder killer. Yeah, whatever. And when he kills Harry, that honestly gave me so much respect for him, but also hatred. It's really confusing. We don't know what we feel about Kincaid. I don't know what I feel. If you guys agree, tell me down below. But I really enjoy Ivy and how Harry has made her into something more than just this archive. He's made her into a human being, which she deserves to be treated that way, and I think a lot of us agree. This also ties into Skin Game. We get to see what happens with the new archive thing that's popped up. So next, I really love Lara Wraith. I think she takes no crap. She does what's right. She's extremely badass, right below Murphy. Like, she deserves the second place award no matter what. She honestly, she does what's right, maybe behind the scenes, and helps Dresden for favors, which who knows when she'll get them back, but her sense of family, her sense of strength, these things line up to what I like in a character. And again, we get closer to the gray line, maybe not exactly gray, but she gets to be right in the middle there where it's questionable to ask for her help, but her help is needed and appreciated by Harry. And again, he loves to challenge her authority and a lot of times gets shot down, and it's pretty funny. Next up is Leanda Sidhe. In the beginning of the Dresden Files, I thought she was this evil villain. Like, who the heck is this lady? What is the Never Never? Like, I was so confused because we're jumped into a brand new world. And I made her out as a bad guy in my mind, and I was like, ha ha ha. But now, after Cold Days, after Changes, when she really helped out and was set to be the guardian of this whole goal that Harry had, I really gained more respect for her, even though I found out that she was infected with that parasite thing and was kind of crazy. That's why she was so evil. And it makes a lot more sense now, which the beginning books, why I was so confused why the godmother would ever do these things. But now that that's cleared up, I think she's a really good character. And again, I want to see more from her and more with her and Molly interacting, because the training scenes that we got to kind of see were super interesting, and I really enjoyed watching and hearing Molly becoming stronger, because Harry, he's a great teacher, but there's some things that she had to be taught the hard way. Next up, alright, maybe controversial, but next is Nicodemus. I think if I had to go from Harry's perspective, he would be dead last, of course. But since it's from my perspective as a reader, I think Nicodemus is a beautiful villain because he never takes any crap, never tolerates Dresden until Skin Game when they had to work together. But all of this stuff, like, he never really loses. And Nicodemus is one of the ideal bad guys, like the strongest ones I've ever seen. He's lived for so many years. Like, we thought Lash was powerful. Nicodemus is like a billion times more powerful. And now he has all these artifacts too that are getting dangerous, but he is this unbreakable bad guy until Skin Game. And I think having someone that constantly is a threat to Harry, even though he may not be present in all the books, that he is a threat throughout all the books, plus the Knights of the Cross, who we know and love, obviously. They are searching, and we need to end Nicodemus, but he just won't die. So I hate him from Harry's perspective, but I love him as a character. Honestly, there's no gray area. He's just pure black-hearted evil. Murdered so many people that were just doing the right thing. But I still believe there's something in there. We got close to a breaking point in Skin Game. I feel like the breaking point is coming up and he will change or be killed. I don't know. But again, his character, ranking his character, he's beautifully, beautifully written as a villain. Next up is Morgan, the executioner for the White Court. Hated his guts in the first books. Again, I was like, who is this dude and why is he so mean? And then we got to learn so much more about him in Turncoat, about Anastasia, and him and the White Court. I loved learning about the White Court and the dynamic, especially learning about Morgan's roles and how he has interacted with people. Turncoat was one of the books that I really enjoyed, even though a lot of people haven't actually enjoyed it. I just love looking into the politics of an organization and seeing the good and the bad in each of the people. Morgan had a lot of good, and he had a lot of bad, and from Dresden's point of view, it was mostly bad for a while, but we finally got to see some of the good in him and what he was working for and working towards. Also, his selfless act really redeemed his character. Okay, I'm down to the final two, so some of you may not agree with who I've put into this ranking and who I've left out, and especially who the final two are, but second to last, I had Elaine. She's been in a couple books. And I've just kind of felt that she's a little whiny and weak. I know she's gotten stronger, but her character has just annoyed me a little bit. I know Dresden has this past with her, and sometimes there's this random spark, which, but she helped set up the Paranet, so I can't give her that much doubt in her strength and everything. And she's been hiding from the White Court for quite a while. That's a smart move. But I just feel like she was one of the first people that let Dresden down when he knew he was a wizard. I know his family had before that, and his obvious like Demorne had let him down. But she was the first one that he made this true connection with and grew up with as he learned this magical power about himself. And she let him down so hard. I just can't forgive her, especially because she's kind of annoying. Now, last and not least, okay, there's obviously some people that I left out that I don't care for too much, obviously, but it's Susan. And in the beginning books, I did really like her. I thought, like, damn, this romance, this is cute. Dresden gets this happiness, and I was proud of that. And now that I'm looking back, I'm kind of sad that we don't have that anymore. But in Changes, and when she left because of the Red Court, I was just pissed. Like, how could she do all of this stuff? And her justification just made me so mad, especially, like, hiding someone's child when she knows that Harry had to go through similar experiences with never meeting a parent and feeling alone and feeling hurt and scared. Like, how could she do that to him? During Changes, I was just so mad at her. I wished that she was dead, and yep. So Susan is at the bottom of my list. I just she had a little bit of power. She had some strength. She had power over Harry for a long time. And what'd she do? She misused it. She didn't use it. She was annoying about it. Her character in Changes just was agonizing. And I hope Maggie has more qualities of her father, because I love Maggie, and Susan may have started off straight, and I loved how she got to the bottom of these mysteries, and her and Dresden kind of fell into this love. But after she became a mother and after she became involved with the horrors of the real world, it just took a turn on her stability and her thoughtfulness, I guess, and I didn't like it anymore, which, again, all these characters I believe are written very well, but I'm just ranking them for myself as a reader. So tell me what you think, who you rank, who you think I should include, and just give me a little insight on what you think. This is just an opinion video, nothing really meant behind it, and thanks for making it to the end of the video. See ya!